Hey there, I'm Chris Carlisle, and welcome to Highways and Byways, a podcast about Texas. This week, it's a look ahead to the eclipse, places to go to in Lufkin, what happened in Texas in 1979, places you can have fried chicken in Texas, a Texas ghost town, Cain City, a short-lived Texas sports team, the WFL version of the Houston Texans, and Texas's first TV station, wbap-tv. Okay, well, a lot of people have come in, or coming in for the eclipse on Monday, which will be a Monday afternoon between 12 and 3, with most of the totality, I think it's supposed to be around 1:30 or 1:34, somewhere in there. I got me a t-shirt about it. And it's also going to be over the states of Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Maine, Missouri, New Hampshire, New York, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and Vermont. I made a short of my t-shirt that I put on YouTube. After you listen to this on YouTube, you might want to check out that. It's the first eclipse over Texas since 1878. That one was over in North Texas, I believe. I have a nephew who lives in Illinois. Coming up, places to go to in Lufkin. Well, a few weeks ago I told you my paternal grandma was from Brownwood. My paternal grandpa was from Lufkin. My family's been there since 1860. Lufkin is in East Texas and is the county seat for Angelina County. They have the Ellen Trout Zoo, the Naranjo Museum of Natural History, the Texas Forestry Museum, the Museum of East Texas, an Angelina County's farmers market, and a dog park. I've only been there a few times. Next, places to get fried chicken in Texas. Okay, Texas fried chicken places. Jim's Crispy Fried Chicken, Waco and Marlin. The Chicken Place in Marlin and Watauga. Street's Fine Chicken in DFW with 2 locations. Mr. and Mrs. G's in San Antonio. Babe's Chicken Dinner House, DFW, 10 locations. Dolly's Diner, Nacogdoches. Rudy's Chicken in Dallas. Mike's Chicken with 2 locations in Dallas. Bubba's Cook's Country in Fort Worth and Frisco. Lucy's Best Fried Chicken in Austin and Cedar Park. Yardbird Table and Bar in Dallas. The Bluebonnet Cafe in Marble Falls. Mama's Cafe in San Antonio. And Picket House Restaurant in Woodville. Coming up next, Texas in 1979. Texas 1979. The 1979 Cotton Bowl, Notre Dame beat Houston 35-34. Bill Clements became the first Republican governor in 100 years. A F4 tornado hit Wichita Falls in April, killing over 40 people. There was an oil spill in the Gulf around South Padre Island, and oil washed up on the beach. There was oil everywhere. There was an apartment fire in Houston on July 31st. It was a 7-alarm fire. It was fed by the wind and was the worst fire in Houston at that time. It destroyed half of the complex, but no one was killed, although a woman's dog had to be rescued. In sports, the Astros finished second in the National League West, their best record up to that time. Pitcher Joe Niekro became the franchise's second 20-game winner, and I went to some of their games. The Texas Rangers finished third in the American League West. In the NFL, the Oilers made the AFC playoffs. They beat the Denver Broncos in the wildcard game. They beat the San Diego Chargers in the divisional round. Then lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC Championship game. And I went to their welcome home rally that night at the Astrodome. The Dallas Cowboys repeated as NFC's champions, but lost to the eventual NFC champion Los Angeles Rams in the divisional round. And then after the season, quarterback and former Heisman Trophy winner Roger Staubach retired. In the NBA, the Rockets finished second in the NBA Central in the 1978-1979 season, but lost to the Atlanta Hawks in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. The Spurs won the NBA Central. They beat the Philadelphia 76ers in the Eastern Conference semifinals and lost to the Washington Bullets in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Texas A&I Javelinas football team were the NAIA national champions. The University of Houston Cougar football team repeated as Southwest Conference champions. The Baylor Bears football team beat the Clemson Tigers football team in the Peach Bowl. The Texas Longhorns football team lost to the Washington Huskies football team in the Sun Bowl. While the Texas Longhorn baseball team made it to the College World Series, and the West Texas State football team were the Missouri Valley Conference champions. The Austin PBS station, KLRU-TV Channel 18, went on the air. The first Fuddruckers restaurant opened. Delaware Waltrip won the NASCAR Texas 400, and somebody bought a pig for $42,500 in Stanford. Must have been some pig. Coming up, Texas Ghost Town. They named the pig Wilbur. In the story Charlotte's Web, the little pig's name was Wilbur, and Charlotte wrote some pig in the spider's web. Anyway, here's a Texas ghost town. It's Cain City. It was in Gillespie County. It lasted from 1915 into the 1960s. It was a stop on the Fredericksburg and Northern Railway. Like a lot of small towns, it had a produce warehouse, a lumber yard, two general stores, a school, a bank, and a cotton gin. But it started to go into decline in the 1920s. Next, a short-lived Texas sports team. Here's a look at a short-lived Texas sports team. They're the Houston Texans of the World Football League who played during the 1974 season. They played in the Astrodome for probably only 5 games there, as they only had 11 games where they were based in Houston. The owner ran out of money and sold the team to a group in Shreveport and moved the team during the season. That won't happen in the NFL. Anyway, they had a 3-7-1 record while they were in Houston. They drew their biggest crowd for Nickel Beer Night. Some of their notable players were former Oiler and later Oakland Raiders player John Matuzak. I was watching listening to a video on YouTube, had an interview with their announcer, Jerry Trupiano. He was talking about how Matuzak had wanted to extend his contract with the Oilers, but Bud Adams wouldn't do it, so he jumped to the new team in the new league. And during the first game, after one series of downs, we went back to the sideline. There were some Harris County Sheriff's deputies who handed him some papers saying that he couldn't play. Also playing on that team were former Jets wide receiver Don Mader and former Baylor quarterback Don Troll. Next, we'll look at the first TV station in Texas. Texas television station was Channel 5 wbap-tv Fort Worth. It was an NBC affiliate and a sister of WBAP Radio, and they were owned by Eamon Carter, who was the publisher of the Fort Worth Star Telegram. And it went on the air in 1948, was one of the first stations to broadcast in color. On the morning of November 22, 1963, it covered a speech by President John F. Kennedy during a breakfast to the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce. It would be the president's last public speech, as he, of course, was assassinated a few hours later in Dallas. And they helped provide local coverage to NBC during that time. It became KXAS in 1974. Some former air staff include Scott Pelley, who was later the anchor for the CBS Evening News. He's now on 60 Minutes. Bob Schieffer, who spent a lot of years at CBS and drove Lee Harvey Oswald's mama to the Dallas police headquarters. Harold Taft, a longtime weatherman, who I used to listen to on WBAP radio. The TV stations still use both stations still use the same weather people, even after they were no longer owned by the same company. Alright, coming up, a Bible verse, a quote from a well-known Texan, and some humor. Okay, here's a Bible verse. It's from the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10, and it says, "Fear not, for I am with you, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will keep you. I will uphold you, my righteous right hand." Now a quote from well-known Texan, former U.S. Senator Phil Gramm. "I love Texas because Texas is future-oriented, because Texans think anything is possible. Texans think big." And some Texas humor. From the You Know You're From Texas Facebook page, there's a meme of a woman and a longhorn cattle, and it says, "Only a Texas mom would stand in flood waters and argue with a longhorn. That's right, mister. You can turn yourself around and go back that way. Right now, move it." Alright, be sure to hit leave a like and a rating, follow and hit the download button. Until then, I'm Chris Carlisle, and I'll see you next time.